Hi everyone, how y'all doing today? This is Norman McFadden. You tune in to me every day. You know who I am. I wrote four books: Legends of Lincoln County, Missouri 1 and 2, and Legends of Leaper Hollow 1 and 2. And I tell stories out of each book. Now today's story is kind of a little different. Um, I was writing for the Lincoln County Journal, and I got the phone call from some guy. Didn't leave his name. He just says there are two tombstones in the middle of Criver River State Park. So I went out and I asked around. I said, "Do you know where the two tombstones are?" And they said, "Didn't know there was any up there." So I kind of put it on the back burner. I said, "Well, we'll look at maybe check it out later when we ain't got very many stories, because we had a lot of stories coming in." And then I got another call from two hikers. They said they was hiking up on a ridge above River River State Park, above the Sugar Creek, and they got late that night, and they said, "Well, we're just going to camp here and track down tomorrow, because we might get lost in the dark." So they threw up their tents, and they said that night, they said it was pretty late, they'd seen two glowing figures floating above the ground, holding hands, just floating around. The guy who was talking to him, he said, didn't act like they was going to hurt anybody. They was just looked like they was looking for something, just floating around the ridge here. So that was enough to get this reporter's curiosity really going. So I asked my daughter, I said, "Well, how would you like to go hiking through Crib River State Park with me and see if we can find two tombstones?" She said, "Okay, sounds fun to me." And silly, we took 2 bottles of water, because we didn't think it'd take very long. You got 3,000 acres there. And we wore shorts and flip flops. We're not much hikers. But we took off, and the book says we started off about 11:30. No, we started off about 9:30 that morning. And we looked and we looked and we looked and we looked, and we finally was sick of looking. We was up on a ridge there above Sugar Creek, and it was getting late, almost dark, and we ran on to the two tombstones by luck. We were covered with ticks, never had nothing to drink. Our feet was killing us, but we found them. So we messed around there. She brought some kind of white chalk. She put this white paper on the chalk on the top of the tombstone, rubbed it up and down, and we got a name of who it was. It, we knew who was laying there in that grave. So now we was goofing around there a little bit, and we seen 10 little tombstones, and we was curiosity killed the cat, I know, but we was wondering what them 10 little dinky stones are for. So I got home, I took the name, and I did some researching with my people I knew, and then I went on Google, and I was searching all over the place, and I found out everything. Why them glowing figures are there and everything, and I'm going to read it to you. It's out of the book Legends of Lincoln County, Missouri 1. And read this, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm on my vacation. I'm in my RV right now. I have no rest for the retard. The love between a parent and a child is the purest, deepest form of love there's one could ever imagine. A love so deep that it could not even be rested with death. The spirit still will wonder and search for your children. Unrestless sleep of death will not quieten or quench the thirst of where your children are. And that's how this story goes. They are two restless spirits wandering the hilltops that overlook Sugar Creek in Crib River State Park. Hand in hand, they will forever search for their 10 children that was never laid to rest in the family gravesite. David Dewey and his wife Mary both was buried on the hilltop in the middle of what you know of Criver River State Park. Now, David was born in 1812 in Jackson County, West Virginia. Shortly after David was born, his parents split up. They decided to give him to a cousin that was childless. At the tender age of 6-year-old, his foster parents decided to move from West Virginia to St. Louis, Missouri. David lived in St. Louis until his foster father died, and then he moved to Troy, Missouri with his foster mother until she passed. It was soon after that that he met his wife Mary. It was love at first sight. They were quickly married and went on to have 10 kids, 9 boys, and 1 girl. David also helped to establish the first Christian church in Troy. David was a good man and faithful servant of God and his family. One of his children, Beverly Dewey, even grew up to become Lincoln County Sheriff. David passed away on December 27th, 1858. There was no details of his death. He was buried just about a quarter of a mile from his homestead on the hilltop near the Sugar Creek in Lincoln County, Missouri. His wife also passed away 22 years later in the year of 1880. She was buried beside her husband David, where he'd already had her stone. They had 10 other stones laid right beside their graves for their 10 children. It was David's greatest wish that all his family in death remain together. But for some reason or another, none of none of the children, not even one, was buried there. They said that as long as the children are not brought to their parents' gravesite, that David and Mary will remain eternity restless, wandering forever in search of their missing children. Now, there's a two-part to this story, and I don't think I'm going to tell that story. I'm just going to tell you right now. I was contacted by David's great grandson, and he said he searched and he never could find his great grandfather's grave. So I set up a meeting with David's great grandson, and I met with him at the Forest Ranger station there in River State Park. And I took him to his great great grandfather's grave. And I stood there with tears in my eyes and watched him put flowers on his grandfather and his grandmother's grave. And he said a prayer. And then I showed him down. I had no more reports of wandering spirits after that. Somebody brought one of their children back to the gravesite. I think it stopped their wandering. I think they're at rest now. If you ever get the urge and you got a restless spirit in your body and you want to go look for David Dewey and his wife Mary's grave, take a lot of water. Bring your hiking boots and long pants and bug spray, because it's a day's work to find that gravesite. This is Norman McFadden. God bless y'all. Till next time.